Hey guys, and welcome to the channel, welcome to the video. I wanted to make this video all about whether as an A-level student, as a year 12, should I drop my fourth A-level? And I want to go through the facts on this from the government website. I want to look at what UCAS say as well about what the potential advantages are of a fourth A-level, and what an example from Cambridge University say about it as well. Just taking Cambridge University because, you know, obviously it's one of the top universities. It's kind of interesting to see how they view this concept of the fourth A-level. So I've been kind of inspired to make this video because a lot of my year 12s are having conversations with me at the moment about whether they should drop their fourth A-level. And a lot of them actually are really kind of, really not upset, but a bit thrown by it. A lot of them started the year 12, imagining doing 4 A-levels all the way to the end. And they're questioning, is it right for me to drop it? And because I've been having the conversation with so many year 12s about it, I decided to make this video, do a bit of research into, you know, what does the data say and what do universities care about? So what I've got here is a breakdown of all of the necessary and relevant information we should consider when we are wondering whether we should drop that fourth A-level or whether we should continue it. So I think first of all, and the most important thing, because the majority of people taking A-levels are kind of interested in going to university, is do universities value a fourth A-level? And it's quite easy to kind of think, well, yeah, they must, because 4 is better than 3, right? But actually, when you look at the information out there, it seems like they don't massively care. Let's go through that. Fourth A-level is really very rarely required. I'll go over right at the end what the scenario would have to be for a fourth to be relevant. I will go through that. The overarching kind of fact is that the majority, by far, the majority of universities offer places based on 3 A-levels. That's the way it's been done for years and years and years. As again, I will go over what the scenario is where 4 A-levels might be later on. But for the majority of people, which will be the majority of people watching this video, 3 A-levels are what you will get your offers based on. So we need to consider, well, what would be the benefit of having a fourth A-level? Because if it's not really required, is it worth the stress and the pain of going through 4 A-levels? Or is it just a nice to have in the eye of the university? We'll have a look. So here's my example. This is what literally the University of Cambridge say on their website on this kind of topic. Highlighted in blue there, they say, we expect a very high level of attainment in all qualifications that you're taking. Now, the reason I've highlighted that is because a lot of year 12 say to me, I'm worried that continuing this fourth A-level is going to bring down what I can reasonably achieve in all of my subjects. So let's say a lot of them often say to me, actually, I think I can quite comfortably get 3 A's. But if I'm doing this fourth A-level, I think there's a chance that I get some B's. Now, if that's the situation, look at what Cambridge University is saying here. We expect very high level of attainment, i.e. very high grades in all your qualifications. So you're going to have to weigh up here. Is that fourth A-level, trying to finish it, is that going to bring down my grades overall? Because I need to make sure I hit my offers. You know, if that's 3 A's, I need to prioritize getting 3 A's, although we'll come on to why you might want to still do a fourth A-level a bit later on. Coming down here, let's have a look at what they then go on to say, the University of Cambridge, about 4 A-levels down in blue at the bottom. Taking 4 A-levels will not normally give you an advantage. I mean, case closed, right? That's pretty definitive. Taking 4 A-levels will not normally give you an advantage. But there's one word in there that we've got to think about, and it's the word normally. Taking 4 A-levels will not normally give you an advantage. So then that makes you question, well, under what circumstances would it give me an advantage though? Now, let's think about what University of Cambridge is, you know, widely considered to be one of the best universities out there. So if your offer is 3 A stars and you get 3 A stars, what if everyone else got 3 A stars? Then what does it come down to? And I think it kind of makes sense that I wonder if that is maybe what they're pointing towards when a 4th A level could be seen as an advantage. Well, I think I'll go into a bit more detail about this towards the end of the video. But I'm just giving you the facts of what this particular university says about a 4th A level. It would not normally give you an advantage, but that word normally obviously makes us think that there are situations where it would give an advantage. We need to try and work out what are those situations. So often students give me this kind of argument about tariff points. What are tariff points? It's basically a point that is assigned to a particular grade, and I'm using A level here as my examples here. There are other tariff points for other further education qualifications. Let's consider a scenario here. Let's imagine your offer is 3 A's, okay? But you think you'll struggle to get that, okay? And I've got this 4th A level, which I really enjoy, actually. And, I might be able to get an A in that. So let's think about what the potential is. I don't think I'm going to get 3 A's. That 1 A level that I know that I need, I think I'm going to struggle. And they've given me an offer. They've given me an offer on 3 A's. But I know that one of those subjects, it's very unlikely I will get an A. A B, yes, but not an A. So would carrying on my 4th help me in terms of these tariff points? Well, let's have a look at that. You can see here how much each grade is worth. You'll see that I need 3 A's, which would obviously be 48 times 3. But what if I could get, a couple of A's, but then I do get that B, but because I'm doing a 4th, does it help me? Well, let's have a look. For example, if 3 A stars are 3 times 56, 168, but 4 A's, okay, so not as strong as A stars, but 4 A's are 192. So aren't I better than, if I get 4 A's at A level, aren't I better than someone who got 3 A stars? According to UCAS and their tariff points, yes, you are. But remember what Cambridge University said. We expect a very high level of attainment in all qualifications that you're taking. What is very high? Is that an A or is it an A star? I don't know. They don't tell us. So we're trying to second guess all the time, and it's really frustrating. But this is what we're trying to uncover and we're trying to work out. I'm giving you all of the information and it will hopefully help you make your decision. On tariff points alone, okay, 4 A's are better than 3 A stars. That is how UCAS assign the number of points for each grade. But, and it is a big but here, roughly, and these are the facts, roughly 7 in 10 courses reference UCAS tariff points in their entry requirements. They reference it, but many put more priority over assigning certain subjects and certain grades in those subjects to receive an offer. Those are the facts. Yes, 7 in 10, 70% will reference tariff points, but they always assign a grade and a subject. So, particularly those most competitive courses will almost always make specific grade offers, and they're on grades, not tariff points. So thinking to yourself, will getting a 4th A level make up for me dropping one of my expected grades in the university's eyes? Here's my honest answer. Maybe, but probably not. In most cases, if an offer has been made based on a particular grade of 3 A levels, then you need to do everything in your power to get those 3 required grades at those 3 A levels. And if dropping a 4th A level will help you do that, you need to drop that 4th A level. Because you have to prioritize. Don't prioritize the tariff points. Even though 7 in 10 reference them, they always focus more on that very high attainment in your chosen subjects. And we know for a fact that most offers are made on 3 A-levels. We know that for a fact. I will come on to it again in a moment. I will come on to 4 A-levels when that is a requirement, quote unquote. So here's another thing that we need to consider. So hold on, let's go back to how can I stand out? If everyone on my course, all of my competitors, as it were, get 3 A stars and the course is oversubscribed, they're going to have to choose between the people that all got 3 A stars. So will doing 4 A levels help me stand out? Now, I was actually really interested in this data that I found from the Gov website. Have a look at where it says 3. So number of A levels taken on the left hand side: 1, 2, 3 to 4, and 5 or more. What kind of absolute nutters are doing more than 4? But anyway, and here, there's the number of students in the middle, and then as a percentage on the right hand side. So let's have a look at, 3. 3 A levels taken is by far the majority. Look at that. 66.3% of students are doing 3 A levels. So if you want to stand out, here's your argument, right? If I want to stand out, what would 4 A levels look like? Well, only 14,500 students did it, which comes out at 5.2%. So effectively, your opportunity there of doing 4 A levels is to be able to kind of, puff your chest out and go, well, I'm in the top 5% of the country because only 5% attempted it. But let's have a look at what the data is on how many people got 3 A stars. So yes, you are massively in the minority if you do take 4 A levels. Only 5.2% do it, which, let's say, on a competitive course could help you, remembering what University of Cambridge said, where they said that it wouldn't normally help. But, and I can't get over this, I was really, really, really interested by this. This is the number of 18-year-old students in England who took 3 A levels and achieved 3 A stars. And you got 2023, 2024, and the last year, 2025. 3,890 students got 3 A stars. What's that as a percentage overall? So, yeah, you will definitely stand out taking 4. But it actually might not necessarily be worth risking your offer grades just to stand out, because only 2.1% of people who took 3 A's got 3 A stars. And we already discovered that 5.2% did 4 A levels, but 2.1% got 3 A stars. So ask yourself, which looks better? You're in the top 2%, well, virtually, if you got 3 A stars. And you're in the top 5% if you did 4 A's. So let's put all of that together then in our heads. What have we learned? We've learned that Cambridge University, one of the top universities, have explicitly stated that what they're more interested in is very high attainment in the chosen A levels that you're doing. If that is 3 and you get 3 A stars, you have surely ticked that box because you can't get higher than an A star. And also you are basically in the top 2% of the country. Is it worth tariff points consideration for me to do a 4th A level? Not really, because although 7 out of 10 universities do reference tariff points, the reality is that if you don't get your offer grades, you're going to be in trouble anyway. So the University of Cambridge had said that a 4th A level won't normally help. But what does that mean? What are the contexts? Yes, if I'm just absolutely clearly going to get 3 A stars, is doing a 4th A level helpful? If it's not going to be to the detriment of my other 3 A stars, yeah, it might be worth doing that 4th A level. What are the contexts in which I should keep a 4th A level? Well, this comes down to what course you're doing. There are some courses that require further maths. What they say actually is, if your school offers further maths, we expect you to take it. The University of Cambridge says that explicitly. So let's consider, shall I drop the 4th A level? Shall I drop it immediately? Well, number one, if it drags down or is harming your well-being, your time, and if it's going to harm your grades on your 3 that you know you're going to be offered on, yes, drop it. because it's not worth the risk of not getting the grade you want or you need in those 3 A levels that you're going to be offered a place on. So sure, it can be a nice to have, right? You know, it's nice to have that 4th A level. Could it strengthen your application? Maybe. Let's think about that further maths. So they will often expect you to have taken further maths, as I say, if your school offers it. Now, if you're already doing maths, you would probably choose to do further maths as a 4th A level, and you would have to do that. You have to do it to completion because that is what a lot of the courses want, where they do require further maths. So if you are looking at a university that does require particular A levels, it is possible you will have to do 4. And of course, a lot of the other people you're up against for those places on those courses will also have had to have done 4. So that really is sort of the only scenario in which 4 are probably going to have to be taken. It's under those particular circumstances. And one other final thing of whether to consider whether you should drop it or not. If it is clashing with your workload overall, with those 3 subjects, with things like your EPQ, with your revision for the 3 subjects, with preparing your applications and with your interview preparation, if 4 subjects is going to get in the way of that, yes, you should drop it. And I'm having this conversation with a phenomenally talented student of mine at the moment who got all grade 9s at GCSE, and he's currently doing 4 A levels, and he's doing an EPQ as well. And he is saying, I either have to drop the EPQ, and we're in May, remember, May of year 12. And he's saying, I've either got to drop the EPQ or I've got to drop the 4th A level. And having the conversation with him inspired me to make this video, because I think lots of people who are incredibly ambitious and who do have that ambition to do 4 A levels actually come up with this reality around this point. And I think you need to consider all of the facts. And there are the facts. There is the data. There are the numbers. And, you know, I think ultimately, if you want a really clear answer, I would call up the university you want to go to, call up their admissions team and say, look, I'm taking my A levels, next year. I'm considering whether to drop my 4th A level. Can you give me any advice? I'm sure they'll get that phone call relatively often, and they will give you advice. But you got to go out there and you got to do the work. You know, you need to find out that information if you want to know for sure. So there you go, guys. Should you drop your 4th A level? Ultimately, the decision is down to you, but at least here were some facts and some data that might help you make that decision. Of course, it is a massive decision. If you're deciding already that you want to go to university and you have your heart set on 1 or 2 or more universities, probably only 1 really, ultimately your goal is to do everything in your power to get into that university. And if that means dropping a 4th A level, even if it's an A level that you love, in order to really help yourself get those 3 A's or A stars or whatever, then you need to really consider that. If you like the video, give it a like. If you found it helpful and you want to be notified on any more videos that I do, of which I will be doing them, then do subscribe to the channel if you want. If you found it helpful, share it with a friend. Give them the information as well. Leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns or queries. And thanks so much, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.